Hello, everyone. I'm Tammy McBride, Career Connected Learning Specialist for the North Central Educational Service District. Welcome to the North Central Washington Tech and STEM Showcase. We are taking the opportunity to make community professional connections and interviewing people around the region to give you a few ideas for your showcase. Today, I'm going to highlight the virtual science fair category, and I have wildlife biologist Ken Bevis from the Washington State Department of Natural Resources with us. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Tammy.
Thanks for joining us and
Sure.
welcome. I,
Hello, everybody.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about your job as a wildlife biologist. So can you tell me kind of what a wildlife biologist does?
Sure. A wildlife biologist is somebody who has studied and has experience with what we call the life histories of wildlife, of animals that live out and about in the environment outside of being directly supported by humans. And so when you understand what animals need in terms of where they live, what kind of food they eat, how big their home ranges are, that sort of thing, you can actually anticipate and apply that to the circumstances of the environment being dominated by humans. And so the wildlife biologist is kind of that bridge between the wild things and the tame things and living with people.
Awesome. I want to ask you what inspired you to do your job? Like, what got you interested in it?
You know how when you're a little kid, there will be certain things that just answer you, that echo inside of you. And I was very fortunate as a little kid to live in a house out in the woods. This was way back in Virginia. But I was always like a nature kid, a nature boy. And so through the scouts and through camping with my family and hiking and hunting and fishing with my uncle, that led me to when I got to go to college, I studied forestry and wildlife. And that led to a series of jobs where I worked as a what they call a natural resource technician. So, like, I fought forest fires for a while. I did trail maintenance. So I had a job for the U.S. Forest Service where we'd go out and saw logs off of trails. Well, and in the meantime, I was always fascinated with nature. So I would watch birds and animals and tracks. And I have a collection of bones and claws and skulls and feathers and all this stuff that I started when I was just really, really young. So basically, the fascination with nature has echoed and has turned into a very, very gratifying career path. And so that's something I wanted to hopefully share with the young people is if you really like something, follow it, follow your bliss, whatever really resonates with you, listen to your inner self and pursue that. And I've been lucky enough to do that.
I totally agree. That's great. I know that you have worked with a bunch of different kind of wildlife animals. What does a work environment look like? And, just a typical day and, kind of what your schedule looked like as a field biologist.
Well, I was thinking when you asked me that, I was thinking of an example from previous work, but I did a study on snags, standing dead trees. There's one right behind me there, and woodpeckers. Let me show you a picture of a woodpecker here, if I may. Well, Tammy, here's an example of a pileated woodpecker nest. And I worked for a couple of years on a study where we went out into the forest. We walked assigned transects and we counted woodpeckers like this pileated with its young in this hollow cavity snag here. And we counted snags. And then we would take that information back to the lab and we made some graphs and some charts and we tried to correlate the presence or absence of this species with the habitat values. So like this tree behind me, the standing dead tree would have been something that we uh, counted and then put those two pieces of information together using scientific methods. And then that led to management recommendations for the forest managers about how to keep woodpeckers on the landscape. So May, June, and first half of July. So for 10 weeks, there was this pretty intense field work that we'd start at like, gosh, 5 o'clock in the morning and finish at 5 o'clock at night for that intense time. Then we went to the lab and did the data workup, and then we went out and counted the habitat. So that was a good example of an on the ground study that I participated in years ago as a field biologist. So I would encourage the students, if you are interested in working in biology and applied environmental science, let's say, there's lots of different ways to do it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for Ken for joining us today. I think that's all we have for today's episode. And make sure you all go check out all of the other categories that you can create yourself for the showcase. And don't forget to make your submissions by Sunday, March 14th. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.